Have you ever wondered what remains after everything you once loved is gone? What keeps you standing when the people you hold dearest are no longer by your side? This is not just a story, it is a journey into the deepest corners of love, into the unavoidable pain of loss, and into the surprising beauty of what remains. Sometimes, what we think is the end of everything turns out to be the beginning of something we never expected. So, sit with me, listen closely, and let this story speak to your heart. It all began in a quiet little town just outside of Portland, Oregon. Life there moved slowly, like a gentle stream winding its way through green valleys. In that town lived a man named Daniel Carter. Daniel wasn't famous, and he wasn't wealthy. He was just an ordinary man with a job at a local woodworking shop, crafting tables and chairs for families he would never meet. But to those who knew him, Daniel carried something rare. He had a heart that noticed the details others missed. He was the kind of man who remembered the name of the mailman's dog, who held the door open even when no one said thank you, who would pause just to watch the evening sky turn orange and purple. Daniel's life changed the moment he met Emily. Emily Hayes was new to town. A school teacher with a voice as warm as sunlight and a smile that carried a quiet kind of hope. She had moved to Oregon to start fresh, carrying her own share of silent scars from the past. When their paths crossed one chilly autumn morning at the town's little cafe, neither of them knew their lives were about to be woven together in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Daniel noticed her first. She was sitting by the window, sipping black coffee, reading a book that looked old and worn. Her hair fell across her face, and every now and then she'd brush it back absent-mindedly. He saw her 3 mornings in a row, always at the same spot, always with the same book. On the 4th morning, he finally gathered the courage to say hello. That hello turned into a conversation. That conversation turned into laughter. And before long, mornings weren't mornings unless Daniel and Emily were sharing them together. She told him about her childhood in Montana, about her love for teaching, about the way she believed that even the smallest act of kindness could ripple through the world. He told her about the smell of fresh-cut wood, about his dreams of building a little home one day with his own hands, about the way he believed beauty existed in things that weren't perfect, just honest. Weeks turned into months, and their bond deepened. Daniel and Emily discovered that love isn't always loud and dramatic, like the warmth of a fire in winter. Their love grew in the little things, Emily leaving notes tucked into Daniel's lunchbox, Daniel walking her home after school with 2 cups of coffee in hand, both of them staying up late, talking about their hopes, their fears, and the future they dared to dream of. One summer evening, under the canopy of stars, Daniel asked Emily to marry him. There was no grand gesture, no crowd watching, just the 2 of them sitting on a wooden bench Daniel had built with his own hands. He looked at her, his heart beating fast, and said, "Emily, I don't have much to give, but I promise that whatever I have, whatever I am, is yours. Will you be my forever?" Emily's eyes filled with tears, and she whispered the only answer her heart could give. Yes, their wedding was small, but filled with love. Family and friends gathered in a little white church. Laughter and music filled the air, and as Daniel watched Emily walk down the aisle, he felt like the luckiest man alive. They built a life together, one filled with shared dreams, simple joys, and a love that grew deeper with each passing year. But life, as it often does, has a way of testing the strength of love. It started with small things, Emily feeling tired more often, shortness of breath, a cough that didn't go away. They thought it was nothing serious, maybe just stress or a seasonal flu. But after several doctor visits, tests, and long, anxious waits, they heard the words that shattered their world. Emily had an aggressive form of cancer. Daniel felt like the ground beneath him gave way. He wanted to fight it, to fix it, to build something strong enough to keep her safe. But this was one battle he couldn't win with his hands. Still, he stood by her. Through hospital visits, through sleepless nights, Through the days when pain was so heavy that even smiling seemed impossible, Daniel remained. He read her stories, held her hand when words failed, and whispered, "You're not alone," more times than he could count. Emily fought bravely. Her spirit remained gentle and radiant, even as her body weakened. She once told Daniel, "Love doesn't end when life does. Promise me, when I'm gone, you'll keep living. You'll keep noticing the sunsets, the laughter, the small moments. That's where I'll remain." And one cold winter morning, Emily slipped away, her hand still in his. The world felt empty after that. Daniel would wake up and reach for her side of the bed, only to find it cold. He would walk into the kitchen and expect to see her humming while making coffee, only to be met with silence. Every corner of the house carried echoes of her, and yet she was nowhere. Grief is not just sadness, it is confusion, it is anger, it is the hollow sound of life when love is missing. Daniel felt all of it. Days blurred together. He stopped working, stopped smiling, stopped believing that life had anything left to offer. Friends visited, neighbors checked in, but no words could reach the emptiness in his chest. And then one day, something shifted. Daniel was walking past the school where Emily used to teach. The children were playing outside, their laughter spilling into the air. A little girl tripped and fell, scraping her knee. Instinctively, Daniel rushed over, helped her up, and offered the comforting words Emily used to say to every child. "You're stronger than you think." The little girl smiled through her tears, and in that moment, Daniel felt something stir inside him. It was then he realized Emily's words, Emily's kindness, Emily's love it remained. Not in the way he wished, not in her physical presence, but in the way she had changed him, in the way she had touched lives, in the way her spirit lived on through love. From that day forward, Daniel began to rebuild, slowly, carefully. He returned to his workshop and began crafting again, but this time his work carried a new purpose. He started building wooden benches and donating them to parks, schools, and hospitals. On each bench, he carved a simple phrase, "Love remains." People began to notice. Families sat on those benches, children played around them, and strangers rested there, finding comfort in the quiet reminder that love, once given, never truly disappears. Daniel's benches became more than furniture, they became symbols of hope. Years passed, and though Daniel never remarried, he was not alone. He carried Emily with him in every act of kindness. In every moment, he chose love over despair. And when people asked him how he endured such loss, he would simply smile softly and say, "Because love doesn't end. It remains. It always remains." This story is not just about Daniel and Emily. It's about all of us. At some point, we will all know love, and at some point, we will all face loss. But what truly matters is not how long love lasts in the physical sense, but how deeply it woos, transforms us, how it shapes the way we live, how it continues to ripple through the world long after we think it's gone. So let me ask you, what remains in your life? What love has shaped you so deeply that even in its absence, it continues to guide you? Hold on to that, cherish it, live in a way that honors it. Because in the end, when everything else fades, love is the one thing that remains.